Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss the 19th lesson Post-War World and India from the 10th state subject. In the 12th lesson we have discussed about the two world wars, what are its causes and consequences. Along with this we have discussed about the economic depression in USA, England and Germany, and we have seen the era of Hitler. Now, in this lesson, we are going to discuss about after the world wars, what happened in the world? What are the countries which were affected worstly in the world? Those are European countries like USSR, Poland, Yugoslavia, those which lost about 20% of its population. Especially in the USSR, 1700 towns, 31,000 factories, and over 70,000 villages of USSR has been completely destroyed. But in the USA, the situations are different. USA suffered less as the war was not fought on its territories. The Second World War helped USA to grow out of its economic misery caused by Great Depression. The US President Harry Truman in 1945 March, he said that we have emerged from this war the most powerful nation in the world. Okay, up to now we have discussed about how much destruction took place after the World War. Now we are going to discuss about the process which were took place in the world. Those were the establishment of the UNO, Cold War in between the two strong nations like as USA and USSR, and the third one is the decolonization. We know that UNO, United Nations Organization, its main aim is that to bring the peace in the world. That establishment was done after the World Wars. In this process, first we will discuss about the UNO in detail. UNO, United Nations Organization. In these, the five countries are there which are permanent members. Those were Britain, France, USA, USSR, and China. They only drafted a charter for the formation of the UNO. The charter of the UNO consists the need to preserve peace and prevent wars, but also the need to ensure human rights, democracy, and eradication of poverty and hunger for all the people in the world. That means UNO is not working for only to preserve the peace and prevent wars. It is also working to ensure the human rights and to bring the democracy in the world and to eradicate the poverty in the countries of the world. It have twin objectives. What are those? Those are ensuring lasting peace and human development. That means the peace should be never ending and human development across the world. These are the two objectives of the UN. And when it has established its membership countries were only 51. Today the membership countries are 193. These six organs have different works. What are those? The works are maintaining peace and security across the world, improving education and health facilities, elevating poverty, providing justice in the context of international crimes, and so on. That means in the across the world, they have to improve the education and health facilities. Poverty has to be eradicated. Security and peace has to be provided for the countries, and justice should be there for the international crimes. These are the works done by the different organs of UN. UN have three different branches. One is Secretary General, another one is General Assembly, and the third one is the Security Council. The Secretary General, that is the main officer of the UN. General Assembly, it is the main body where regular discussions between the nations take place. And the third one, Security Council, which will be related to the war and peace decisions will be taken here. Now we have to discuss a small topic which is very important, that is called veto powers. It is 2 marks question. We know that there are 5 permanent countries are there in the UN Council. If UN Council has taken any decision, in the 5 countries, any one country also says that it is invalid or rejected the decision, then that decision will not going to be implemented. That only called as veto powers. So only these five countries which are the permanent members of the UN have this type of rights. That one only we will call it as veto powers of the countries. But the countries who have the veto powers, that countries only involving in many of the conflicts used their veto powers to block any action by the UNO. And sometimes they have also used their power to force the UN to bend to their dictates. The very existence of a forum like UN has forced the great powers to exercise moderation and self-control. The special powers have given the great powers a special role and responsibility in preserving world peace. UN also doing efficient work in the area of education, health, cultural exchange and production of heritage, but it is very less successful in preventing wars. So, this is about UNO, United Nations Organization. In this topic, we have discussed about the formation of the UNO and what are the permanent members, what are the veto powers they have, and six organs of UN and its work. These topics we have completed in the UN. Then next we will move to the next topic, that is the two camps and the Cold War, that is the period of 1945 to 1991. First, we will discuss in detail about communist bloc, that is USSR. Its ideologies or the ideas are equality, state-controlled development, and suppression of opposition. These are the three principles of USSR. In these principles, we have to discuss in detail. First one is ideas of equality. In the Communist Party government, there will be equality among the people in the entire country. Second one, state controlled development. The development will not be in the few hands. It will be controlled by the state. And the third one is the suppression of opposition. We know that communist based countries will not allow more opposition parties. So that's the reason here opposition will be suppressed in the communist based countries. So the same in the USSR. These are the three principles of the USSR are based on the communist. Okay, along with this USSR, the entire Eastern Europe support is there. What are those countries which are supporting to the USSR? Those are Poland, Hungary and East Germany. Along with that, many colonies which were gaining freedom like China and Vietnam, also very close to USSR. Now, the next bloc is Democratic Capitalist Bloc led by USA, and its ideas were multi-party democracy and private capitalist controlled process of development. That means democracy will consist multi-party system and development will be in the hands of private capitalists. These were the ideas of the USA, and its supportive countries are Britain, France, Spain were closely allied with the USA. Entire world thought that after the Second World War, the everlasting peace will be there and it will be led by the UNO. But the world has divided as two blocks with the control of USA and USSR. Before the World War, there were the alliances. After the World War, there were the blocks. But the countries started showing supremacy. These two countries and two blocks competed with each other for bringing all the intermediate countries in their blocks. After the Second World War, continuously 45 years, a strange war occurred in between the two blocks. But this war was now hot. It is not a hot war, and a war was fought behind the closed doors through propaganda and words. It is called the Cold War simply because of the absence of real fight as in traditional war. In the traditional wars, they used to fight directly with one another. But this fight, standing back of or closed doors and fighting among themselves, it will be called as Cold War. And it will be Cold War. First time we are listening, no? It also have its characteristics. Those are intense tension. Always there will be a tension when the war will broke out. That will be in between the United States and the USSR. Influenced and shaped almost everything that happened in the world between 1945 and 1991. That means 45 years continuously there was intense tension in the world when the war will broke out. We will think that a Cold War only, no, there will not be any loss of human lives. No, real fighting and cost around 20 million human lives, and almost all of the killed were citizens of the third world. That means not belongs to USA, not belongs to USSR. Then what are the countries suffered and given human lives? Those were the colonial domination. From the colonial domination, the countries which were emerged as the independent countries, those were Vietnam, Korea, Angola, and Afghanistan. So, with the name of two blocks, the countries which are following and which are supported by the USA and USSR, those countries fought with one another, and finally, those many people have lost their life. This division turned ethnically similarly people and geographically adjacent territories, so which are near to the territories regions only these war took place. In this Cold War, we have to discuss the three main topics. Those are proxy wars, military alliances, and arms race. That means during the Cold War, how they have fought with the name of proxy wars, military alliances, and arms race. So, in the next video, we will discuss in detail about these Cold War and other topics. I hope you all understood up to here, and whatever we have discussed up to now, the map pointings will be presented in the video itself. And if any doubts or anything you want to share, please keep a message in the chat box. Thank you.